So it's almost setup has been done. Yeah. Yes. So, good evening, everyone. Warm welcome to each one of you. Deep gratitude to Jay for being here, in the session, and I would. Sorry for the inconvenience. There are a few of the. I'll just mute everyone. Yeah. So sorry for the inconvenience, and we thank each one of you for being here and for this day of learning here. Gratitude once again to Jay for being here, for being our esteemed speaker of the day. And we are all here to bring a change in our lives. We all may know the subject, but there is always everything when people connect with each other. There's an opportunity to learn from each one of us. And when there is an opportunity to learn from each one of us, that brings the desired change in our lives. When we say about that desired change, there are five things that are said that can bring a change. The three are primary, which says that what do you listen, what do you read, and do you what do you listen, what do you read, and what do you see. And there are two more things that can bring a desired change: is what do you think and how do you think, and what work you do and how you do that work. So now when we are into this session, it demands your undivided attention, because that only can help you learn. So Jay is a tax expert. He is a founder and CEO of his firm, JSR Tax Advisors. I have known Jay, as I had shared in my message, for since 2017, when I read his name in the list of one of the 10 uh, participants in the faculty identification program in India from amongst the 100 who were chosen to be empaneled. So one thing I would like to say here, that Jay was empaneled in India, which was much more tougher. And there were faculties which were empaneled here in UAE. And the marking process for the faculties was much more easier. So Jay had gone through that difficult faculty identification program. And it was after some time that I realized that Jay is here in UAE, and then he became part of the UAE VAT certificate course of ICI held here in UAE. So now we are up to this journey of e-invoicing, where Jay will touch upon the e-invoicing in Oman and e-invoicing here in UAE. And he uh, is known to each one of us. And as Akansh mentioned, that they have worked together, and they both learn from each other. Thank you to Akansh. Akansh is also present here, who was our speaker for the first session. And as we continue with this journey in the CA Speakers Forum, I invite each one of you to be encouraged for speaking, because this is not just a platform for expert speakers to share knowledge, but also for all of us to develop ourselves as a great speaker. With this, I hand over to Jay, and I request each one of you to give him a thundering round of applause without any noise. And Jay, the screen is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhdeep ji, for wonderful introduction. And even my session, I would like to starting with the gratitude to you for creating this wonderful forum. Not today, like from 2017, as you mentioned, I have been seeing you creating so many forums to help the fellow professions to reach, learn, express and excel in their career. So that's a commendable, I would say, initiative. And I'm glad that to associate with you and do the session for the
Thank you.
e-invoicing. So I'll try to
Thank-
add my best. After the first session, my colleague Ikansh has raised the bar really high. So I'll give my best to make sure that participants' time is worth by attending on the Thursday. So I'll
Thank
share
you.
my screen.
Yeah.
And what we'll do for, I will try to summarize my content in 30 minutes so that we want pure 30 minutes to listen to the Q&A of the participants. Because as we mentioned, we both learn each other. So there will be
Mhm.
various scenarios which would be there in the mind of participants. And I would be happy to answer if I can. So
Yeah.
with this,
So,
I'll share my, yeah.
yeah, you share one thing I would like to say to the participants to please be here until the end because there is a lot of time, as Jay mentioned, that we'll give for Q&A, and that will make a significant difference. Thank you.
Yeah. I'll keep my screen in the read mode, not in the full screen, because I have to shuffle from different tabs. So it will be
Okay, okay.
easier
Fine, fine.
to shuffle quickly.
Yeah.
So first, I'll cover the entire presentation into three parts. What is the background about e-invoicing and models in UAE? A little bit from the previous session. Then we will see what are the differences between Oman and UAE because both the countries are adopting same model, but there are a lot of differences. Then we will see the official clarifications and announcement made by the respective authorities in UAE and Oman. And then we will deep dive into the technical elements of the e-invoicing. So with this, starting with the first topic. So whenever in 2021 or in 22, tax authorities, Federal Tax Authority and Oman Tax Authority, they were analyzing that which model they should adopt for implementing e-invoicing in the respective countries. They visited KSA, they visited European countries, Singapore, and ultimately what they observed is that there is an organization called Open PayPal. We must have heard the name PayPal a lot of time, but PayPal is not any company's name. Company's name is Open PayPal. It's a non-profit organization based in Belgium who has developed a model or a network called Pan-European Public Procurement Online, the short form of which is PayPal. So it's kind of a network which was originally designed for governments to share the contracts, but looking to its benefits and the capacity, they extended this model to even share the invoices. And this model is present in so many countries. That's why UAE and Oman, they thought rather than developing altogether a new model, which is time consuming, and maybe it will be a trial. Rather than that, let's join the PayPal, follow their network because they already give rules, technical standards, and it's a proven capability. So it will be much easier and faster to roll out by joining them. So both of them they adopted the PayPal model and they made bit modifications to match it to their respective country. So the model which was originally there was four corner model. UAE and Oman, they are going to the more advanced version by making it to five corner, which we will see in the coming slides. I have also kept the URL of the PayPal at the last bullet in case you want to check more information about it. So the model which UAE and Oman are adopting is called five corner model. Assume this model like an email service. So as a corner one, as a supplier, when let's say we have to send an email as a sender, what first thing we need to do is we need to take service of a service provider. Let's say we have to select Microsoft Outlook for exchanging the email. So that's the corner two, which we have to appoint as a service provider. Without that, we cannot send our data, or I would say emails in an example. So once we send an data or e-invoice, the corner two, who is the service provider, they will send to the recipient service provider. In a case of email, let's say the buyer is also required to appoint service provider in order to receive the emails. It can be same service provider or it can be different. Let's say buyer is going with Google Workspace, not with the Microsoft 365. So Microsoft will send the data to Google Google will send to the buyer, which is corner 4. So corner 1 is the sender, supplier in e-invoice case. Corner 2 is the ASP of the buyer, or ASP of the supplier, my mistake. Corner 3 is the ASP of the buyer, and corner 4 is the buyer. Now, what new advancement which UAE and Oman made is they added corner 5. So corner 5 is tax authority. In the case of email, assume that we are marking them in CC while sending email to the buyer. So they will also get the data real time. It will not go process batch by batch, that first corner 4 will receive, then corner 5. Both will receive real time. So that's all about corner 5, but still the transaction is not complete. Still only one way of flow has happened. Again, like in emails, we sometimes request for read receipts. Same manner, corner 5, which is tax authority or Ministry of Finance, and corner 4, your buyer, they need to send an acknowledgement in the reverse order. And also, corner 2, who is your ASP, they will generate a unique transaction reference number, which is called UUID. Once the supplier receives 2 acknowledgements and 1 UUID, then the transaction is assumed to be complete. So that's a big summary about the 5 corner which we discussed in first session also. Now I will go bit ahead. So the example which is there on my screen is the sample e-invoice in XML. Many times we learn about e-invoice, but we think it as a PDF or an image format. That's not the case. Actual e-invoice is an XML language which is machine readable but not human readable. This will be the actual legal document which will be shared between the corners, between supplier and buyer, and with the tax authority. Now this XML format, machines can read it, process and analyze it, but we humans, we need a different format for our better understanding. So for that, various formats are available, like PDF A3 format, which will be converted from the XML. So XML will be mandatory. Other formats like PDF or JSON format, those will be voluntary or optional for human readable accessibility. So let us see what is the timeline in UAE before we go much deep. In UAE, e-invoicing is getting implemented in 3 phases. Phase 1 for companies whose revenue is exceeding 50 million, they have to select ASP by 31st July and go live by 1st January. Second phase is less than 50 million. They have to appoint ASP by 31st March 27 and go live date by 1st July. And governments, they need to select by 31st March and go live by 1st October. So by 1st October onwards, each and every entity, or I would say person in Oman, in UAE, will be issuing e-invoice. Whereas in Oman, it is being implemented in 4 phases. And mind that in go live date in Oman is earlier than UAE. So the first phase is getting implemented from 1st August 26. That is a pilot phase for selected 100 to 150 companies who have been handpicked by OTA to implement e-invoice. Then there's a gap of 6 months in each phase. Phase 2, after 6 months, is for top 1500 companies who are classified as large taxpayers. Then third phase, after 6 months, is for every VAT registered company, irrespective of size. It can be large, medium, small, but except governments, because governments are covered in phase 4. So with this, by August 28, all the persons in Oman will be issuing e-invoice. Now, model is same, 5 corner model, but there are significant differences which we should keep in mind when we are doing implementation in both the countries together, or if we are assisting clients in UAE and Oman. So let us start with first difference. So first point is a common, that e-invoice for B2B and B2G is required in UAE as well as in Oman. But in UAE, e-invoice is applicable even on non-VAT registered suppliers. Whereas in Oman, if you are VAT registered, then only it qualifies as B2B. If you're not VAT registered, e-invoice is not applicable. This is the first difference, I would say. Second difference is on B2C transaction. In UAE, at the moment, they are not covering B2C transaction, whereas in Oman, from phase one itself, from 1st August 26, e-invoice is required even on B2C transaction. In the last session, OTA clarified that on B2C transaction, QR code will be mandatory. However, they are considering a duration. Maybe they will not make it a real time exchange between the corners. At a certain interval, let's say 3 hours, or at the end of the day, exchange is required between the supplier and tax authority through ASP. And they clarified that each and every transaction, customer wise reporting is required, not a summary at the end of the day for B2B, B2C transaction. Then the another major difference is that in UAE at present e-invoice is not required for import of goods because that is being regulated by customs and custom data is already being passed on to FTA directly into the VAT return. However, in Oman, and self-billed e-invoice, which is a new concept, is required even for import of goods and even for import of services, which is the next point. So companies, after they import the goods, they have to punch the same detail from the customs declaration, which is also known as Bayan, into their system and generate an self-built invoice. Similarly, for import of service, UAE invoice is not required, but in Oman, self-built invoice is required. Moving to the another difference, like in UAE, we have local reverse charge mechanism. So that is covered in e-invoice. Oman, it's not applicable because there is no supply which is under the local reverse charge mechanism. That's why it's not applicable. Then a normal difference, which we all know, decimals. In UAE has 2 decimals, and in Oman we have 3 decimals up to 100 besas. Implementation phases, which we saw earlier, there are 3 phases in UAE, whereas 4 in Oman, and all the phases full rollout will be done by October 27 in UAE, whereas in Oman it will start early on 1st August 26, but all rollouts will be completed by 1st August 28. Then moving to list of ASP in UAE, as of date, 16 ASPs are pre-approved. They are not approved as final. There's a stage of final testing which is pending. So once that testing is completed, companies will be moved from pre-approved list to final approved list. Whereas in Oman, the registration for ASPs will start soon, and the list is expected, first list is expected to be published by Q2 26. Then in UAE, there are various transactions, businesses which are excluded from e-invoicing. For example, governments conducting sovereign capacity, international passenger transport, or financial services. However, in Oman, yet they have not announced any exclusion. So, e-invoice is applicable for every business, even for financial services like banks, those who are collecting interest on various kind of loans. After seeing the differences, let us see which are the some official clarifications issued by the respective tax authority. So on my screen, I have kept the sources wherein you can monitor and learn more about the e-invoicing, like OpenPayPal, the URL which was there even in earlier slide. UAE MOF site, which we all know gets updated. Soon it will be updates will be there on FTA. However, there is one more URL which MOFS mentioned in their recent guide, which is of PayPal. Over there, you can find all the official documents relating to data dictionary and other requirements in UAE. So this is there on my screen, which we'll go in detail on this website. Then in Oman, the portal is of Oman Tax Authority. They have created a dedicated tab of e-invoicing, wherein they have mentioned all the clarification, FAQs. They did 2 awareness sessions for service providers. Even recording of that sessions is mentioned, is kept on the portal, which you can access at your ease. It's mentioned here at awareness sessions. So you can access and If you have missed earlier session, it will help you to be on the same page. So coming to the type of document. So in UAE, we have four type of main categories of document. One is tax invoice, second is tax credit note, and other two are the self-billed tax invoice and tax credit note. So in UAE, point to note is we don't have a concept of tax debit note. For any additional consideration, we need to issue tax invoice. For any reduction or cancellation, it will be tax credit note. Whereas in Oman, there is also an additional document called tax debit note. In case we want to charge more consideration for the previous supply, in that case, company can issue a tax debit note. And the fourth different category in Oman is prepayment tax invoice, specifically kept for the advances case, wherein you are receiving money from the customer but not yet supplied goods or services. So this is again a difference between UAE and Oman. Now, these are the four categories which we discussed, but there are also different use cases, subcategories of the invoices, I would say, which are typically standard tax invoice, zero rated tax invoice for export, or deemed supply, continuous supply. These will be the subcategories in which there will be more fields which will be required. So till now we were, I would say, still on the surface. We have not gone much into deep. Now we will start the technical discussion about the e-invoicing. So we all know this, we discussed in the first slide, that there are 50 mandatory fields in a standard tax invoice. But these 50 are only from a standard tax invoice perspective or from a printable version perspective. However, if you see in actual, the data dictionary which is there on the PayPal website, there are around 248 fields which are there, which can be applicable based on case to case. For example, discount. Discount is not a mandatory line item, but if you give discount to your customers, then it will be called a conditional item. So there are around another 40 which are conditional item, and then there are optional. In total, we have to analyze, when we are seeing data dictionary, around 248 fields. For that also, UAE has issued a full consultation file in which these fields are listed with the tab mandatory, if you can see here on my screen, or conditional or optional. Now I will glance you through the pinned AE web page, which is created by PayPal specifically for the UAE invoicing. So if you will see here, there are various IT terms which I will try to explain in a simple language. Like the first one is semantic model. Now, what is semantic model means? Semantic means basically a description of a field or an explanation. For example, invoice number. The explanation of it is a unique identification of the number. So every field or a business term is given a common ID, so that globally, in wherever country PayPal is there, if the IT guy or the users speak about BT01, they can understand that we are speaking about an invoice number. So every field is given a unique ID, and it is being explained here. So if you will see this list, it's more than the 53. There are subheadings even in the invoice terms. Then comes the second term is syntax. Now, what is syntax? The XML example which we saw over there, there were blue items, a placeholder, I would say. So syntax in XML means a placeholder where the data element will reside or will appear. So if I show you here, the blue ones, if you can see, cbc.id.uuid.issue these are all syntax, the placeholders in the XML document. Then there are three type of categories into the data dictionary. One category is identifier, like invoice number. Then there will be dates, timestamp, and another category will be of code list. So there will be a unified codes which are to be used by the all the taxpayers, and these codes are majorly coming from ISO. So if you will see here the country codes, they have adopted ISO 316-1-alpha 2. These are to be used as it is, because in ISO also there are various categories. Now you would be thinking why they have mentioned here alpha 2. The reason being, in country codes also there are different categories, alpha 2, alpha 4, and numeric digits are also. So from that they have adopted the standard alpha 2. Similar to this, there are code list for currency, there are code list for reasons of cancellation, payment which will be used, reasons for exemptions. So companies, those who are implementing the e-invoicing, if they are still waiting in Oman that data dictionary is not final release, it's in draft mode, they can do half of the work by adopting the standard code list. These fields will not change. There can be other local fields or additional fields which can be introduced by tax authority, but the common ones which are there on my screen will remain standard. So with this, your study can start and your initial gap analysis can be started. Then if I go much more in detail about this code list, country and all are very simple currency which can be easily adopted, but there are certain codes which needs to be adopted based on your case to case. For example, this allowances in normal language means extra amounts which you will charge to your customer. It can be for uh, out of pocket expenses, or special amounts which are agreed, or discounts, or yearly rebates which are to be given to the supplier. So even it will take time for you to understand the terminology which is there in the e-invoicing and connect with your layman finance and the tax terminology. Then there are rules for each and every field, that how it should be categorized. For example, for invoice, maximum character limit is 50 characters. For date, it's YYY-MM-DD. Now, how this can be handled when you are doing the gap analysis? There are various methods. Not necessary that always you have to incorporate all those fields into your system. Just a minute. So I will divide how you can handle the fields in different ways. The first method is that you can make changes in your source system, but that is practically sometimes difficult because most of the ERPs have exhausted their flex field limits, or they are already customized so much in various modules that if they have to make change at one place, let's say date change, they have to do 10 more changes. So the another better way is that these can be taken care by the ASP, your middleware. They will put the logic, or we call it transformation, that your current format will be transformed by the middleware and will be reported into the XML. Another example, let's say document code. Now, in the documents, we have codes like tax invoice, number referred is 380. For tax credit notes, it's 381. So what middleware can do, again, transformation, they will connect with your document type. If they will see the document type as tax invoice, they will apply the field of 380 in the document code. So with this, you can reduce the burden on your ERP of customization or incorporating so many fields. It can be taken care by the middleware. Third method is like if you have data into the multiple fields, let's say customer city is in the customer master, transaction fields are in the transaction, or if it's not in the same ERP, you have a separate Excel for customer and supplier master, XML or CSV. So a common table or a dashboard reporting table can be built in the ERP, aggregating data from various module, let's say from your customs module, your product master, your customer master, and that common table can be connected to the ASP to send the data. Now, even there are different ways of exchanging the data with the corner 2. The common method, which we all know, is API. That through API, automatically corner 2 will exchange that, collect the data from corner 1. But that's not the only available option. There are other two options, which is SFTP, through which, if your system is not allowing the direct connection, a designated location can be created in which your ERP will export the data in CSV, XML, or JSON format. From that location, on the mutually decided time, the ASP will pick up the files. It can be scheduled for every 5 minutes, every 1 hour, or as necessary. Third method is, even if you don't want to go for SFTP method, you can have a upload method. Like, the ASP will give you a standard template in which you can punch in the data or paste the data from your ERP and upload that template. Rest of the XML creation, UUID, and the exchange work will be done by the ASP corner 2. And the last method is manual data entry. Let's say if my volume is very less, 1 or 2 invoices in a month, then I can log in into the portal of ASP, punch the data, and generate the e-invoice. So evaluate based on the volume of the documents which you have. All of the four will yield the same result. Not necessary that always you need to go for the API connection. Then even for receiving the invoices, there are various methods. Like, in case you are not going for API, an email automation can also be configured, that whenever the invoices are posted by corner 3, your ASP, to you as a buyer, an email with the document can be sent to the designated email address to alert on the invoices. Similar to the bank messages, how we get whenever any amount is getting debited or credited in the account. Even the reverse FTP method is available over there, that whenever invoice is posted in a designated folder, XML with PDF can be exported to that folder from which you can pick it up. So that was about the integration methods. Then coming to the VAT codes, even for text codes, let's say in Oracle, you have configured your own text code, or for SAP, there are standard text codes like V1, V2, S1, S2. Those, if you don't want to change, or you have global modules, rather than changing the text codes in your source system, you can again adopt the transformation, wherein your text codes will be listed with the text codes which are prescribed in the PEPAL PINT AE, or in the PINT Oman, which will be prescribed. This is the list which I showed you. There are many more fields. Like, still I'm showing you the main links. If you keep on going in detail, there are links for each and everything. For example, if you'll see here, the frequency of billing codes or payment methods. So there are payment methods which are available. This needs to be attached with the fields, like either you are doing transaction in cash, or through check, or through direct debit. So what can be done is, now this is a general list. In case you are following only one, like you always accept direct debits from your customer, there is no cash sale, you can make them in the priority sort on the top to make it more user friendly for your users, and disable the others. But at the time of modifying the system or doing configuration, I would suggest to keep all the standard list, so that in case in future you want to use any, you don't have to create again, you can only simply activate those fields. So if you will see, there are so many details which are interlinked with each other and needs to be carefully evaluated before starting the integration with the ASP. That's why even the tax authorities in Oman and in UAE FTA, they are recommending companies to start the gap analysis and don't wait for the ASP list or till the last moment. Even that's why in UAE they have kept two deadlines. Deadline to select ASP by July, so that companies start the work from August onwards, and they take 5 months to successfully do the testing and integration. They have given even sample invoices for each and every use case on this download resource button. Human readable invoice Excel. A lot of data is there in that. If like if we go in detail, this session can keep on going for at least I would say 3 to 4 hours. Prabdeep ji, let me know when I have to stop or if it's becoming too heavy.
Yeah, please continue, Jay. I
Yeah,
think we have still sufficient time left.
yeah,
And maybe you can take 5, 10 minutes more and then we can move on to the uh, Q&A. Yeah.
sure, sure. So I'll take it up a bit clarifications which Oman Tax Authority and UAE has done. Couple of them were already covered by Ekansh, like for in case of export. Still, e-invoice is required. They have issued a dummy ID, wherein in case your buyer is not in a PayPal country, you can put the dummy ID and you need to create the e-invoice. I'll just go to the 5 corner slide first. Yeah. So in case of export, corner 1, corner 2, and corner 5 will be there, but corner 3 and 4 will not be there if your buyer is not in the PayPal country. And the another objective of selecting the PayPal network for invoicing is that eventually the plan is to expand the sharing between multiple countries, not to keep within UAE. So even Oman, UAE, Oman to Europe, UAE to Europe, even Singapore, Japan, invoice can be shared through this model. Then in Oman, still tax authority is evaluating whether e-invoice is required between the in same VAT group members for out of scope transaction. They are not finalized yet. Whereas in UAE, we know they have given exemption for the 2 years to be adopted. Similarly, in Oman, for out of scope transaction, as of now, they have clarified that tax invoice e-invoice is not required. Whereas in UAE, e-invoice is required even for out of scope transaction in for B2B and B2G. So that is another difference between the UAE and Oman. And in terms of implementation, as Ikansh also covered in last slide, we also suggest to do in 3 phases. Phase 1, which is the most time consuming and heavy work, which I would say, is phase 1 gap analysis and impact assessment. That takes a lot of time, and in that businesses can brainstorm and simplify their other business processes along with the e-invoicing implementation. Once that phase is done, gaps are assigned, identified. Next phase is to fill up those gaps or do the necessary integration or the execution to ensure that you are ready to connect with the live system and process the e-invoice. Once e-invoice will be go live, don't expect that it will run 100 always smoothly. Being a new system, there can be some teething issues in the initial phase. So you need to keep on monitoring that all the invoices are correctly posted, fields are correctly recorded back in your system. So it will require a monitoring also even after go live. So with these 3 phases, if you start early, you will reap benefits and will have a successful e-invoice implementation in your organization. So with this, we can open the Q&A. Like participants can mention their questions in the chat box. We can read and answer one by one.
Yeah,
Feel free to ask all your queries. I'm here to
yeah,
answer.
yeah. Maybe Jay, participants can unmute themselves and
Yes.
say the question. Yeah, if you are not able to unmute, please let me know. I think you should be able to. So, anyone who has any question, please
Jay,
unmute and say, yeah.
Jay, I'm Sudhindra Kumar here.
Yes,
When you say
Sudhir.
when you say small companies, you mean to say even small groceries, other retail outlets also will give you will have to go through all this process?
Yes, all the businesses in UAE, companies having trade license means they qualify as B2B. They will be
Hmm.
required to comply based on their turnover, either in phase
Right
one.
now, we are, right now we are getting invoices without anything because they were day to day on a day to day basis we are having this problem. None of them put the invoices, VAT numbers, nothing. Many of the invoices we can't even claim it. If that is the case, how these people are going to handle all those things? isn't it? The small petty expenses what we get it, including the petrol bills, whatever it is. Many of the things we could not claim it because of lack of information in this.
Correct. So that's why e-invoicing is a big, we call it a big project. Like it's not only for the big companies. Even if you will see, e-invoicing is not changing any rules for tax. It's just merely changing how we exchange the invoices from digital to e-invoice. So as of now, also, if any company is having turnover more than 375,000 dirhams, they are required to register. There are so many small grocery shops or laundry shops. They will easily qualify that limit but not yet registered. So that's why e-invoicing being implemented to reduce these gaps of where companies are not registered and to increase the transparency. And as we all know, even for corporate tax, there is no limit. Any company who has CR is required to register corporate tax and file the returns. So even from that perspective, once tax authority will have the data, they'll be able to do better assessments or regulate from the corporate tax perspective. And various other use cases are there for government. So that's why they have not kept any limit. Even for small grocery shop or laundry shop, e-invoice will be mandatory.
Jay,
Okay.
just clarification. This is only B2B and B2G. So, B2C will not be involved in this e-invoicing, I believe.
Correct. B2C, as I mentioned, in UAE as of now, they are not doing.
So grocery
But
shop, if I go or till laundry or petrol, if it is I'm the consumer, then I don't need to get any invoice. I
as
think
of
I
now,
am just clarifying the gentleman's question
yeah,
answer.
as of now, no. But in Oman, if you'll see, even for B2C is applicable.
Oh,
And in UAE also, it will come soon. They want to do in a phased manner, but objective is not to exclude B2C forever.
Okay, so before we go, Jay, into these questions, I think which are in
Yeah.
the chat, I think Srinivasa wanted to ask, Srinivasa Senthil. Yeah,
Right.
can you please?
Thanks for organizing, Jay and Prabhdeep. Always your wonderful, helpful soul. That's all I can
Thank
say.
you.
Fine.
Thank you.
Now, my question is: yes, our gentlemen have discussed already about the grocery shop, petrol pumps, everything. My question is relating to yes, it's a B2C, of course, in the Dubai market. If you look about the what do you call that, cafeteria and restaurants and all, most of them are not giving any bills at all. Okay, there's a walk-in customer because they cannot handle the when there are five people are standing in front of him, he will just take the cash and he may bill or may not bill. So this is a practical situation. How we are going to solve this?
So I would say we think it's difficult, but if you'll see the way technology has reached now, there are even calculators, I would say, electronic calculators available. Forget about POS machine, way more capable. That even if you punch it as a normal calculator on a tea shop, they are capable of exchanging the invoices with the tax authority. So we think it's difficult, but slowly and gradually, the way it will be adopted, it will enable the invoices. Like if you see in initial, when WhatsApp was there, initially people were not adopting. They were still following the regular SMS or the phone call. But now, after so many years, people are used to it. Or emails. Previously, people used to write letters. Now, hardly any people write letter. It's all email. So it's all about time and the adoption.
Right, thank you. But once again, I relating the same point.
Yeah.
Same to the cafeteria or a restaurant model and all. Whether at the end of the day they can generate some invoice and they can upload, is it possible? But for the Talabat and all the delivery models.
Hmm. For
So
them,
end of
it's
the day,
already through
they
internal
can
delivery.
generate some value, maybe
Mhm.
5,000 or 10,000 they might have sold, but they will reduce it to 6,000 or 7,000, and they will end of the day they will generate one bill. The daily report will be there anyway. So even if you use it by cash or calculator and the model, tabletop model, or by the POS model, whatever it may be, end of the
Hmm.
day the report can be generated. Whether that will be sufficient for this purpose?
In UAE, they are yet to clarify because now they are not implemented on B2C. But in Oman, they have clarified that a summary report will not be enough. Customer by customer transaction has to be reported.
Ah.
And even as of now, if you see Talabat in Oman, as per Talabat's agreement, invoices are to be given by the respective restaurant or the shop. They are just an intermediary. They issue invoice only for the service fee and delivery fee. So
Okay.
the respective restaurant is required to issue e-invoice for B2C. And in
That's it.
Oman also, they will not be covered in the phase 1. The phase 3, which is there, the mass phase, which is from August 27. So all the grocery shops or the SMEs, those who are not in the top 1500 companies of the country, for them, they still have 1.5 year to implement.
Understood.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are going to face the same issue here also, no? That way, as a
Same thing.
precautionary measure,
And
we have to guide.
there are a lot of, I would say, if you would have seen in India, I'm telling there are calculators which even pan shops use.
Yes.
So they are also capable of exchanging. Only thing required is internet over there.
That's all. Yeah, correct. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Nidhi, would you like to unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yes,
Yeah.
hi. Actually, I just wanted to ask, there is a concept of forming PE in Oman, right? If we if there is import of service by a non-resident for more than 90 days, so
Correct.
that they have to comply with VAT law and also corporate tax by formation of PE. Now, let's say there is a contract agreement for 1 year or 2 year, right? So implementing e-invoice for them will be very much difficult. So how we can do for this case?
Okay. So in Oman, they are going by VAT registration, not by the status of the entity. There are basically three status in Oman. One is regular resident, means company is having the CR in Oman. Second one, which you mentioned, PE, resident, but not having the CR, trade license in Oman. Third is non-resident. So e-invoice will be applicable on all three. PE, if they don't have any, let's say, ERP in Oman, or they don't want to connect through API, as I mentioned, you can go for an alternative methods of integration. You can select an Oman ASP. Through their portal, you can generate the invoice for Oman related market as a PE.
Okay.
Because
Thank you.
in PE also you get a VAT in which starts with OM2 for PEs.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So that is the identifier for the invoice in Oman.
Thank you.
Okay. So, Manoj, can you unmute yourself, Manoj? Okay.
Yes,
Sudhindran,
sir.
yeah, Manoj,
Good
please
evening.
go.
Good evening. Hi, Mr.
Hi,
J.
Manoj.
It was a nice
Hi,
session.
Manoj.
Hi. Just one question. The company, being the holding company, has only one income, like a dividend income, or maybe interest income, may easily cross this limit. Do they need to register these type of companies? They don't have any VAT, anything like that. VAT, even CT also is an exempt income. Do they still need to register for this?
So in Oman, you're asking about Oman or
UAE,
UAE? So
UAE.
I'll be specific because answer can differ from country to country.
Yeah.
Yeah, UAE
Yeah,
he is asking.
UAE.
UAE.
Okay, so for UAE recently they clarified that holding companies they can be exempted for this.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sudhindran, you wish to ask anything? Because you had unmuted yourself. Okay. Anyone else? We still have 10 minutes to go. Yes, Shah. Sayed, please. Yes, Shah. Please state your question.
It's Jay.
Yes. We can hear you.
Yeah, hi.
Jay,
Yeah.
Jay,
this is
this is
about
regarding
the
about self-invoicing. Okay. So the contract which is got to be written between the supplier and the receiver of the invoice who's going to issue the self-invoice, where is that got to be uploaded? We have any kind of format over there where this is got to be uploaded? How are they going to identify that this is a self-invoice and there's a contract already written? There should be an agreement if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. So in UAE and Oman, both places agreement is required, but in UAE you need not to share or upload anywhere in the tax authority. Whereas in
Okay.
Oman, you need to submit with OT. This is the traditional practice as of now. But in
Mhm.
e-invoicing, they will issue specific identifiers for type
Right.
of invoice. So
Right.
when you are issuing e-invoice, there is a identifier with a string of 1 and 0, which you
Correct.
need to use. So if you're
Right.
using self-billing, I think it's fourth or fifth digit. I exactly forgot the placement. If
No
you
worries.
use that string, the system will understand that this invoice is under self-billing or a credit
And
note
then,
under self-billing.
and then we'll also have to upload that agreement every invoice.
No, agreement is not required. You just have to use that string for your invoices. Let me share my screen to show.
Sure.
So everything in e-invoicing, when I mentioned 248 field, these all are rules to give the logic to the system that what they
Right.
will understand. So even for type of transaction here, there are codes, strings to
Correct.
explain that what type of transaction I am doing. So if you will see here, just okay. Yeah, this one. So if you'll see, this is the string which will help to identify type of transaction. So
Okay.
if you will see here, self-billing
Yeah.
will be there. So there will be strings. For export, you have to mention one, and various use cases and identifier are there, which will help to understand the type of document, subtype of document.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Do you really, can you explain me why is it import invoices not valid for e-invoicing in one country? I think you said UAE, it's not there, and whereas in Oman you have it. Any particular reason for that?
So logic which I can understand, they have not clarified anywhere. It's my
Yeah.
understanding that in UAE already the data is pushed from respective Emirates, the customs Emirates, UAE
Yeah.
Abu Dhabi to FTA portal in your box 6 and 10. So no
Right.
need of again asking from taxpayer. They already have the data.
Right.
Whereas in Oman, they want importers to self-declare their imports, gather the data so that they can auto-populate in the VAT return. So as of now in Oman, we don't get auto-population for import of
Right.
goods.
Correct.
So the ROP, Royal Oman Police, which manages the customs,
Mm-hmm.
they are a separate entity, government entity, and tax authority in Oman is separate. They both don't exchange the data as of now.
Okay.
So in
So
terms of consultation, when they asked, we submitted this as our suggestion that similar to UAE, rather than asking self-billed invoice from the
Yeah.
taxpayer, better to get it from the customs department. So
Correct.
let's see whether they change the provisions or they still mandate the self-bill.
Fair enough. One more query. I mean, is that okay?
Please feel.
I hope. Yeah. And you also mentioned that debit note is not valid in UAE for e-invoicing, whereas it's valid in Oman. Any particular reason for this?
It's changes in the law. Like most of at the major level, if you will see, the law is similar, but there is a still localization country to country. So Oman VAT law permits debit note. In UAE, there is no provision to issue debit note.
Okay, even in the VAT law, there's no debit note
Yes,
itself.
yes. So
Gotcha.
e-invoicing is just a change in the method of issuing e-invoices for
Correct.
rules and regulation of taxes, may it be VAT, excise, customs, or corporate tax. We have to follow the respective law.
Fair enough.
So that's why when many companies consider e-invoice as only IT project, that does not yields a good result. It
True.
needs to be studied together with tax.
Exactly. One question here is in KSA, if you can see, the tax authority over there, they zakat, they validate the invoice. Okay. Now in this PayPal network, the ASP is validating the invoice. So are there any guidelines for validating the invoice for these ASPs?
Yeah, so same set of rules, like which I was showing on my screen, they call it schemas, or the same will be applicable for ASPs also. So if you'll see here on my screen, there are rules, there are schematrons. These all are typically for ASPs to validate.
Okay. These are already published for both the countries?
Oman, they are yet to publish. For UAE, it's already there.
It's already there.
And it's not the final. They keep on making changes. You might not be aware that they have made 3 times changes in the Pintay already.
Okay. Yeah.
But these all
And
are taken care by ASPs. And if there are significant changes which are to be done by taxpayer, ASP
Yeah.
do inform to the companies.
I mean, the ASPs and you people do get an update saying that there's an update in this rules and regulations?
Yes, yes. We get email alerts. And
All
we are
right.
also registered member of PayPal. So we get direct
Okay.
emails from any changes. So they issue consultation papers, suggestions,
Mhm.
and many things.
This PayPal network, I mean, I was attending one of the Oman Tax Authorities webinar as well, which they had maybe a couple of weeks ago. They were talking that what kind of PayPal network subscription is an ASP got to take, and what is the one which the vendor who is issuing invoices got to take? Well, the vendor also needs to take any PayPal subscription?
No, vendor, if they want, they can take as an end user, but
Okay.
not mandatory. For
Acha.
ASP, it's mandatory to take the membership.
What kind of membership? I mean, if you can explain
Yeah,
a bit.
so this is like a network. So if I
Okay.
have to be part of that network, I have to subscribe to it, and then PayPal will give the infrastructure. So
Okay.
on the PayPal website itself, like the URL which I shared, they have given list of members who all are there. So what will happen? Like if you'll see here corner 2 and 3, how they
Right.
will exchange the data. So they will exchange through PayPal infrastructure, which is called AS4 standards to be followed.
Uh-huh.
To exchange, like if two telecom operators have to connect, there should be a common TRA or infrastructure to connect.
Fair. Yeah.
PayPal is giving that infrastructure.
Okay. Now, I mean, in PayPal also, in the website which PayPal has published, there are multiple type of subscriptions they are referring to, and we are really confused which one is the one which the ASP is got to take.
So over there also for ASPs, there are 2 categories. Whether you want to just become an access point or a service metadata publisher. Service
Okay.
metadata publisher basically has the capability of indexing and seeing the ID of others. Whereas
Okay.
access point is just you will connect and you will be able to exchange.
Okay.
So these are the 2 for service provider. Other one is for tax authorities like FTA and MOF are PayPal authorities with the PayPal.
Okay.
Oman is
Okay.
also registering. And other is end user or an observer if you want to do it, but not mandatory.
Okay. The one who's got that metadata one can even create an ID for these vendors of this, of the,
Yeah,
I mean,
so
the
that
clients
is
of
part and parcel of onboarding process. In UAE, they have already simplified. If you will see on the MRATX portal, whenever you will
Okay.
select an ASP, list will be there. You have to select. They will then connect to the you to the PayPal network. They will do the onboarding on your behalf.
Okay. The ASP is going to do the onboarding on the PayPal network. Huh?
Yes, yes. So that's part and parcel of ASP's responsibilities.
So if the ASP is taking only the access point, even then they can perform the duties of exchanging the invoices and as in one of those corners, corner 2 or corner 3.
Yes, yes. They will subscribe to another SMP.
Okay. They need to subscribe to another SMP.
Yes.
If we do not do that, we would not be able to find who's the recipient of the invoice.
Correct.
Is that what it is? Right.
Yes. So what many companies do, all the service providers are not SMP,
Correct.
but they are AP. AP is mandatory. SMP is optional if you want to do.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jay.
So,
Thanks. That was really helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So, Jay, we have run out of time. There's one question Punita is asking about ICA Dubai chapter. Punita, if you're a member of ICA Dubai chapter, you can connect with the managing committee and check on any thing is there which may be coming up. Other thing what I would like to highlight, when any chapter of ICI have to do, they can do it as a workshop, but if it has to be a certificate course, it has to be approved by the ICI, like the certificate course for UAE VAT was there, certificate course for corporate tax was there. So this you need to remember. And with this, Jay, your last words before we sign off.
Yeah, Prabdeep ji. So as a last word, like I would suggest to all, like e-invoicing, it takes time to understand, learn. There are so many new things. So don't wait for the last moment. Start your journey early and give sufficient time to your team for the change management to adopt to integrate system. So don't wait for even, I would say, for next month. Start tomorrow.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you all for
Is
joining.
this meeting going to be published on the YouTube, on your YouTube
Yeah,
channel?
it's there. It's there on the YouTube channel by my name, Prabhdeep Singh Baweja. It's there already. It's going on live. Many were there on the live session.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
what I'll do,
Thank
Pradeep ji, I'll
Yeah,
even post the link in the YouTube comments of the presentation, so
yeah.
members can directly download from there also. And I
Yeah,
will
Great.
share with
That
you.
would be really good. Thank you.
yeah. So thank you. Take good care. Have a wonderful